Welcome. This is Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey. I am, of course, here with my co-host Righteous Reg. But we got a special guest. Got the revolutionary, the master of Panther style, Darius Lockhart. How are you, sir?
I'm doing all right. And you? Thanks, guys, for having me.
Of course, we are
Great,
very
great.
happy to have you. It's been some time. Phil and I have talked about having you on for a while now, especially because of the great things that have been happening in ASÉ.
Thank
It's
you.
going to be the 2-year anniversary here coming up.
Mm,
Time is just flying by, ain't it, D-Lock?
I know. Flying by, flying by. It seems like just yesterday it was, you know, launching it and putting upload on the social media to announce it.
Yeah, definitely a guest that both of us have wanted to have on for sure. Um, Not just because I'm a big fan of your work, but also I think one of the most important voices, one of the most important Black voices in this space.
That's a
And I
fact.
appreciate a lot of what you have brought to the table and a lot of conversations you started.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I think the sentiment isn't lost on me, so it's really kind words.
What because this has been early for you. I think like ever since we've kind of known of your space in this wrestling space, you have always kind of been forward with the messaging and about black representation and what the message was always going to be. Was that something you had coming into the wrestling business? Did you know that's what kind of place you were going to take here?
No, I think it was a part of me that I was just kind of generally exploring
Hmm.
throughout college the first couple years. I've always grown up in, of course, black spaces, so that's natural to me. Wasn't really discovering anything, but just learning more about history, and the context of my identity in the space. And as your mind expands in a collegiate setting, you also start to notice things in the world around you. And I
Hmm.
felt that there was a pattern that I was noticing, and then until it affected me in professional wrestling, that had to do with race and identity. That we were kind of receiving a short end of the stick numerous times, and so I just kind of I there were things that happened to me that I personally wanted to combat, and I was just kind of like, I'm going to be. People are telling me that this is a detriment, and my blackness is going to hold me back. I should not mention it. I should quiet it down, and it started kind of spiteful, of just being like, no, I'm going to be, the coolest, blackest, and it's going to be a baby face. And
Hmm.
you're gonna love it, and I'm gonna make money off of it, and people are gonna love me, and you'll see it. You're wrong about this. This is not a detriment. My culture isn't a detriment to me. It should be a superpower. And so it kind of started off from there, and I found the love in it along the way, and realized, this is less about proving something or the system wrong, and more just about like showing people what's possible in a space that yells at you that it's not for you, but you insist you find some love here. You want it to love you back. So I'm just trying to be what a lot of people wish that they could see in professional wrestling, or wish they could have been, without compromise.
Man, has been quite a journey for you in wrestling.
Mm.
I know at one point you were dealing with some injuries. You went on a brief hiatus.
Hmm.
And then you made your way back to wrestling to start Ashe. Just talk to us about like the differences between being a pro wrestler and now being the owner of a company for the last 2 years.
Yeah, no, I think to do both it's very exhausting. I'll have to start by saying off. You have a lot of hats to wear, a lot of tabs to shift through, because social media stops being about how do I promote myself, how do I make Darius look cool, and it starts being about how do I make everyone look cool, how do I show
Hmm.
everyone strength, am I posting this person enough, am I giving this guy watering this grass enough over here. I think just in generally speaking, I've learned a lot. It's impossible not to learn from the situation about yourself, about what you're willing to compromise, what you're willing to give, and then also what you're willing to give to yourself. So it's definitely a big human journey. I'd say that element
Hmm.
has been part of a bigger part for me, creating something like this. But I will say it is cathartic in other ways when you see other people starting to believe and see things in themselves that maybe they didn't see, but you were able to
Mhm.
see just at a position of context.
Yep.
Some people I've been blessed enough to help without realizing I was helping in that way. I just kind of saw what I thought the world was looking at. This is an obvious win right here. Look at, you have this going on for you, this going on for you, this going on for you. Why not put it in the context of this? But this is empowering a lot of people where they go, well, thank you. So it's a big emotional pool in a lot of directions for me so far.
Mm-hmm. Did you go into starting this thinking the space was needed? There needs to be a place where young Black wrestlers can do their thing, or was it for you? Was it like you're not getting enough opportunities? You want to essentially present a place where you can have opportunities on a 6 weeks to 2 month basis or something, or what was kind of the motivation behind starting the whole thing?
Well, it's tricky. The motivation really was, um, I noticed that the industry was kind of in a cycle of always trying to, whenever things need to be refurbished, they were calling the
Mm-hmm.
same 10 names. It was, oh, well, Bishop's going to fix it. Oh, well, Jim Ross is going over there. Oh, well, Paul Heyman, they should do Paul Heyman. And it's like, it's the same 10, 8 names, and nobody in the names look like me. You know what I mean? And I think that is the reason why everyone's failing to get it right when it comes to a lot of representation. Yeah, there's a lot of us. Let me not say, because people will hear that and say I'm still crying. What more could I want? Javon Evans is doing this. Open for me is doing that. There's a great number of us and this is a conversation that's happening over time. This is not me pulling up this year. So it was a
Definitely.
long road to get to Javon Evans and Obafemi. But
Yep.
the fact that sometimes us being in the room, that's a numbers game. What I'm talking about here is it's more of a literature game. It's more
Mm-hmm.
of a, hey, what are the letters on the page saying, right? How do you, like, what are you conveying to the audience when you position us in these roles only? What does it say when you have a pay-per-view and no there are no Black single stars, but we're all in the chicken commercials? What does that say?
Mm-hmm.
So you know what I mean? Like, that's the conversation I'm having here. That said, I think someone at the top has to change in order to see those kind of things, and there need to be more people in my position who are creating, who can, like, stop us from falling into those nasty pitfalls. That said, I never really kind of, I mean, like, it's also, I made this to be a Rorschach test. It's funny, like,
Mm-hmm.
people kind of see what they want to see. If you've
Yep.
looked at, Asé's promotion, there's never in print has said all Black anything.
No.
Everyone saw a poster of wrestlers and said, oh, it's an all Black show. And that
Mm-hmm.
showed me, yeah, look at where we are in the litmus test. Like, look where we are in the social space, and that's still all you saw. But,
Mm-hmm.
there's other shows that New Japan doesn't get that squander. AAA doesn't get that squander. Here's something I'm
Mm-hmm.
creating that gets to be, culture is present. There's a cultural presence here. That gets to protect a little bit of us and build something of equity of our own, but it's minimized to that. It's a big hill to climb. It's a lot of ideas, a lot of reasons, but to keep it brief, those are some of the leading charges that we kind of needed more for ourselves. And I wanted it to speak for itself and do the work without, cheap buzzwords centered around it,
Yeah, I definitely feel like around like the 2019 period, 2020, Kofi Kingston was really a guy that kicked off like a renaissance for Black world champions. And so
Mm-hmm.
absolutely there are more Black wrestlers that are more visible. It's still sometimes an uphill battle trying to prove how marketable Black wrestlers can be in this space. But I do think for a lot of it, the next step is getting more Black owners, getting more Black people on the creative staff.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
yes. I'm sorry. I didn't think that was a question. I'm so sorry.
no, you're good. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a part of the answer. You know what I mean? Reg asked, did I do it for myself, or I think I wasn't getting enough opportunities? No, I was doing very well before I took a break, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't take a break before, like injuries. It was just kind of, I was just in a mental space, but I didn't take a break because of, I'm sorry. I didn't take a break because I didn't need it. Like, I needed it for myself. But I'm making this kind of a space because I don't know. I'm trying to find the right words here, guys. If you give me a
Mm-hmm.
second, it's really more so. Yeah, if I don't do it, then who will? You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's why we're here. It's
Totally.
like it's not because I can't get booked. It's like, no, I could get booked. It was that, like, there's a bigger issue at hand. Like,
Mm-hmm.
when New Japan sends Okada out, when they send a guy out, he's protected. He can't lose.
Right.
When someone Mystico goes somewhere, he's protected. He can't lose. There is not really an entity that does that for Black wrestlers specifically. And so even coming in, we're just getting da 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 da. So that changes when people are behind the scenes pulling for you, and people that are there to protect you, and people there to present you a certain way. Um, But yeah, so it's I meant to address that. That's why I went back. By the way, I was like, it's not
Oh,
that
good. Yeah, for
it's
sure.
that there's a bigger issue here at hand, and you have to hit it from both sides, on screen and behind the camera and in front of the camera. And I have a big affinity and a love for both spaces, much to my detriment, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
As a black wrestler, you gotta wear a bunch of hats, though. I think if you want the whole kind of industry around us to excel, you got to do more than just be a wrestler. I always equate it
Yeah.
to hip hop. It's like you can't just be a rapper anymore. You got to be a rapper and a producer and a
Well,
videographer and you
yeah,
have to carry all these things to represent, because they're not, like you're saying, they're not going to do it for us.
yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not even just even the hip hop space. Like you see, Issa Rae and Jordan Peele exist for a reason. Like they had
Yep.
to do it themselves, and
Hmm.
that's the way you can attain a sort of autonomy in a way of avoiding, like you say, like those pitfalls of being made a mockery of, or being misunderstood, or being held back. When you kind of you have to kind of liberate yourself, and with that comes a lot of, it's like kind of like a lot of headaches, a lot of tasks, a lot of hats. You have to
Hmm.
do a lot of things on your own. But we see that, like I said, with the likes of Issa Rae, with the like of Kev on stage, the like of Donald Glover, you can do it. It just takes some time and some persistence and some effort, and it's worth it.
Yeah, like you said, it is a litmus test a lot of times when fans see all black people on something. It immediately turns into, okay, well, this is for black people. I know that
Yeah.
was like one of the hurdles for Milestone Media. That's a comic reference for people. And when they were creating all these characters, eventually Static was the character that broke out from that and became
Mhm.
popular. But when the books were initially coming out, the books didn't sell like they wanted to, because a lot of people assumed, oh, this is for black fans. Or you had some of the same hurdles for something like Boomerang, for example, in a movie where it's like, this is a whole black cast. So people assume, oh, this is for black people.
Right.
And I don't know, how do you adjust for that? How do you get over that hurdle with something like ASÉ to try to promote to not just black fans, but try to bring in, fans from different walks of life?
I kind of let it be what it is. I let word of
Mhm.
mouth and the work do the talking, and maybe that's not such a great thing right now. But I'm seeing the real, authentic, and real time like work. We've to me honestly, we've had a multicultural fan base since show one. The
Mhm.
Definitely.
people who kind of feel that way just aren't there, which is why they don't realize it. But we've had fans, white, Spanish, Asian, since night like show one, and so our fans and audience looks very like multicultural, which is beautiful. So I like to think that organically the it'll find its way, and you'll see that it's just good wrestling, and a lot of people will champion, and the right people will champion it, and people will speak to each other. I don't really like having to be too performative, and
Hmm.
and
Right.
and, and also like I don't want to like make anything less authentic, or like do a song and a dance for anyone to kind of come in and see this what it is. I think it just has to be genuine good work. And at the end of the day, this is just professional wrestling like any other promotion. We just have a few more melanated people on screen, y'all. That's just, y'all just got to get used to that, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think the first thing that kind of stuck out for me with ASÉ, besides there being a bunch of my favorite black wrestlers there, was kind of the
gotcha.
aesthetics of the whole thing. Like it's different than any other wrestling show that you pull up on YouTube or you're watching. You know what I mean? Like what went into kind of that process? Because it's like you got a little bit of poetry in there. There's some music. There's a vibe to it. How did you get to
Yeah.
that vibe?
Well, I think there's the conversation of, because the entire diaspora to some extent is celebrated here at Ashe.
Hmm.
Because we're trying to pull from so many multicultural lenses, and you got Khan from Cameroon, and you have all
Hmm.
these different people from there are different regions from the southeast to the north. We all have our different cultures and aspects. So you're bringing all those there. So to me, it had to be as diverse in what it offers to kind of have the full conversation there on that spectrum.
Hmm.
I looked at shows such as like Soul. Soul is a show that ran from 1968 or 69 to about 1974. It was created by Ellis Hazlett as an executive producer, and
Hmm.
it basically kind of was a forerunner, or kind of like a startup with something for Soul Train. Except, however, in addition to musical performances, it included poetry. It included political thought and talk. included, some of the most iconic moments that people, pull from on the internet to this day. You see the conversation between James Baldwin and, excuse me, I'm so sorry. James Baldwin and, wow, if I could have said it, I could have said it. But there's different conversations with, I'm trying to think of her name. I'm so sorry. My mind is not.
You're good.
But either way, there's these different conversational pieces that people are having. And it shows that there's all these different things you can do and different ways to celebrate us and also uplift and inspire the consciousness to uplift. And I really wanted to do that. I really wanted to put medicine in the candy and be like, yo, we can have a good time. And also, like, you can change the way you think about things. It doesn't have to be the biggest and brightest space and the biggest multi-big billion-dollar production for it to be something real. And I just thought that was just helpful. It also helped cross genres and helps get different audiences in. Some people are here for music. They come for the music and then stay for the wrestling. I'm just inspired by so much different types of media that comes through from the 60s to the early 2000s that I think that we've made a lot of good recipes. And I just want to kind of cherry pick and pick some of the ones that are fun to me and throw them on screen together.
I think it was Nikki Giovanni, right? That was in the
Yes, Nikki Giovanni. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I sometimes joke when we start this podcast. I very much enjoy coming on here and talking about wrestling with my friends, but it sometimes feels like an excuse for us to talk about hip hop as like-minded music fans. So, I do see that a lot, and like a lot of stuff that Black people do in this space, that we kind of find a way to bring our interest in music and other things in it. How important was it from day one to make music a big part of what you guys do?
I think it was pretty essential, just because, like I said, if I wanted that crossover appeal and I wanted it to be something that appealed to like youth and young nightlife a little bit. I think that I was noticing the hip hop scene is always a guarantee here in North Carolina. Like, that's kind of what's been getting people out the house. I go to shows, they're always a local show. So I was like, how do we get that audience in here and that young audience to realize that, like, who used to love wrestling and, to get in the door and realize they still kind of bang with it if it's presented a way that they can taste, right? A way that they like the taste of it. I did a music video with Tia Corinne, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and she wanted to be a wrestling music video. So we hooked her up with like a space and a ring, and she invited all her fans to show up as extras. And so many people showed up, and they knew what to do. They had the signs, they had a Rey Mysterio mask, and it was just people who don't go to, but none of these people like go to wrestling shows, but they all knew what it was and loved wrestling. It was like, oh, we love this, da 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 da. And I was like, well, how do we get these people to the indies? You know what I mean?
That's
I
the
know
question.
that's
the
so
question.
That's really what it was. It kind of started from that heartbeat, and knowing that there's so much like an overexposure of wrestling lines and hip hop anyway. So it's like, y'all, come on, like, what are we doing? Let's just marry the two and just, and make it our way. If it's right to you up there, if that's why you don't watch no more, let's make something dope down here and then you can watch this. Like, that was kind of my head.
That's a fact. What you brought it up here earlier. What was the North Carolina connection? How important was that to kind of the birth and how ASÉ was going to move forward?
Well, I'm born and raised here. I'm a Charlotte boy. And I think some of the best professional wrestling of all time has happened on North Carolina soil. Regardless of, if you're talking about, as recent, then there was some indie booms that was cool, but I'm talking the classic stuff, of Flair and Dusty and a lot of the world-class championship stuff. And I think that there's the soul of pro wrestling. North Carolina is certainly one of the heartbeats of it.
Yep.
And I would like to pay tribute to it and just keep adding to the scene. Especially, the scene has been so divided ever since I've been a part of the indies. This promotion don't bang with this promotion. This promotion don't, they don't. So I'm such a person, I'm trying to be like, yo, love here, love here, love here. So we can all start working together and make it right. I think that there's also a heap of stars that have a harder time being seen up until recently. So there's like a couple generations here that, like, they're still talented, they're still going. So I'm trying to give them their flowers too and help my people that are next to me, so we can rise up. Yeah, I hear you should always network across instead of trying to network up all the time. So that was kind of a reach one, teach one, pull up together situation.
Network across, that's a bar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, speaking of that, of course, obviously, if people don't remember, you were in the finals for the Pan-Afrikan Diaspora World Championship. I always want to make sure I get the entire title in there. You were in the finals against Trish Adora. And now you've got Bishop Khan defending that belt on the upcoming show against Calvin Tankman. How important was it to you to work with Fight Club Pro and get, such a prestigious belt on your cards as well?
It was very important. I believed in what they were building from the ground. From the start. I originally thought I wasn't gonna be able to be a part of the Pan-African title situation, so I kind of like told them, hey, maybe like not right now when you first start, but I'll be back. And then I ended up getting to be a part of the first inaugural situation, so that was really cool. So I'm glad that they were getting it off. I was very excited to see the world title being acknowledged, and I was like, okay, that's really dope. That's a big win for us as a culture. So now I think it's imperative that someone in my position uplifts that situation, because it's one of the few things we have. So it's like, how do we get that next to an IWGP? How do we get that next to, some of the other, world titles that are in the conversation, and it represents us because we bring something to the table. I would love to elevate that. So I think before ASÉ, I don't want to come out with ASÉ titles show one if I didn't know I was going to do a show 4 or 5. Or I just wanted to, but I had a plan, but just in case I didn't want to come out the bat with it. So I was like, yo, let's put y'all on. Let's platform this world title that's for us, and make it something special, and keep it from falling to the wayside, and get some juice and some life into it and help everyone. So I'm excited. It means a lot to me to let people know once again like what's possible just by entertaining it and holding it here.
Yeah. Definitely one of the most beautiful championship belts in this business, in my opinion.
They did it.
That visual of Khan on the wicker chair with it, it's so dope, man. Like,
I love that shot. It's one of my favorites, and and I like to think that we do that with all our champions, all our singles champions. Take a picture in the wicker chair. Only feels right. Suge has one as well. Different lighting, different situation, but they all get a shot in the chair. And I love that. And we still got to get Trish's. We still got to get like a replica and have her do her thing and do whatever. But yeah, I was very proud of that moment with Khan, and I like to clear the air right now. Like the ASÉ and the Pan-African title, they're both the top titles in ASÉ. Like I like to think of the Pan-African title as being the NWA kind of joint, because it's recognized by PWI. Let them have that. They're all over. That person travels. Sometimes they're on ASÉ shows, sometimes they're not. This isn't the exact home. It belongs to Fight Club, but it goes everywhere. It's a world title. But the ASÉ men's title, that's our title too. So think of it like the WWE and World Heavyweight Championship. They can coexist. The champions just got to stay in their respective corners sometimes too. But I've been seeing them going back and forth on social media. So we'll see if that ever happens. But
that's not going to change anything.
No, but right now the 2 world titles are still they're that.
You just had to put it out there at least. Like I said it. You guys can keep fighting amongst yourselves if you want, but this is what it is.
We'll see what happens. If the people want it and they end up getting in, I've given to the ASÉ Commission Board and all things like that. If people want it, I'm sure it'll be made. But I'm just letting everyone know that there's no pecking order. They stand side by side, and people should respect that and everything. I saw someone call like our Intercontinental, and I was like, no, it's not. It's a world title. Respect it.
Also, we're talking about championships. You just recently established the ASÉ Women's Championship, and I think Charity King has been on an amazing run and tear. Talk to us a little bit about Charity and the initial Women's Championship tournament.
Also, another title on the same playing field. Our ASÉ Women's Championship is just as important as ASÉ Men's Championship. And Charity is like an amazing first champion. This tournament had a lot of like just different mix-ups. We were switching things a lot around a lot. And I'm so glad that we end up getting to the finish line in such a spectacular, amazing way. It was such a big moment. Seeing Charity like just really kind of take her crown, so to speak, coming from a young girl on show 1, the very first ASÉ women's match, to being the first ASÉ women's champion. You can't write that. And I was just so proud of all that coming together. Originally, the tournament was going to be a little bit bigger, but for time and brevity and everything like that, we wanted to get this thing going and get that title in front of the people. So it went from 16 women to 8 women real quick, but we were making do, and you'll see all those women that were supposed to be in the tournament. They will be in ASÉ eventually. It's imperative to us to keep women's wrestling as a focal point here in ASÉ Wrestling, and just see so many, just powerful women come in and out the company. I'm excited about. Hopefully, we get some people back. Hopefully, get some new faces this year. But time will tell. And charity stands at the top of it all. So you got a hell of a gatekeeper to go through, everybody.
I know you're wearing your owner hat now. I did kind of bring up, the Pan-African Diaspora World Championship for the reason to talk about the upcoming match with Calvin Tankman and Bishop Khan. But I think I speak for a lot of us when I say, when are you going to throw your hat back in the ring and try to challenge for that belt?
For the Pan-African title. That's a good question. I want to keep sharpening my teeth. Right now, I got to get through Jah-C, from Jah. I got that big coming match. That's cool. After that, I think I'm gonna start a climb. Darius Carter still and I still have a little bit of unfinished business though.
He has unfinished business with everybody.
I don't really like him walking around with that ASÉ Men's Championship. So that's one of the things I'm really looking at. But the Pan-African title is very appealing to me. Friend to friend, I like to let my people, rock and run. And when Suge was champ, it was just kind of not really a question of something I really wanted to do. I was like, I was proud to see my friend, and I had a lot going on. But as my teeth get a little more sharper, and I'm still getting back in this ring, who's to say? Me and Khan can link up. That'd be good.
Very exciting stuff. Very exciting prospects that could lead to that. Let's talk a little bit more about this 2-year anniversary show. It's been a journey, as we've talked about here on the pod, trying to, the wrestling landscape has, even in the 2 years, Darius, has changed a lot, especially independent wrestling. It feels like on a weekly, monthly basis, they're saying it's doomed. We're out of here. We're finished. But you kind of made it out. Like, does that stuff affect you? Like, does hearing WWE ID and these things, does that affect what you got going on in your space?
Not really. I think I don't want to say I have a fair weather or like halfway in, halfway out relationship with independent wrestling. That's not what I want to insinuate. But coming back, it was very important for me to protect my peace coming in. And that was just really like, I want to focus on building ASÉ and making that important. Whether it, I like to create partnerships and working relationships with people. But at the end of the day, the chaos and the BS and the drama, that's y'all. Y'all have that. That's fine.
Yes.
I don't really care. I really could care less. That's why, the cards are as simple as possible in terms of like, we're trying to stay away from controversy. I try to keep everyone happy. Let's just keep it moving and making the right direction. So I don't really get like, the sky's falling narrative happens every 5 seconds in wrestling. You know what I mean? So every 5 minutes, there's another sky's falling. And, AEW, they were going to go out of business, 3 years ago, right? And then now they're still here. So it's like, come on, dog. TNA was going to business 5 years ago. Every 5 minutes, like they're still here. And even on a lower playing field with independent wrestling, like companies come and go. And I think that people don't realize that the average company from the beginning of pro wrestling used to live 4 to 7 years. That's an average time for promotion. WWE is an abnormality. TNA is an abnormality, these long-time promotions. So it's look at WCW. Look how fast that was. Like, you know what I mean? Like AEW is now existing longer than the WCW ever did. So people have to just realize that some things come and go. They're ecosystems. These things live and die. But we'll be okay. We'll be all right. And I can't let any of that get in my head just because I have to just focus on what I want to make and what I want to create and move at my own pace.
Definitely. I think one of the dopest things about ASÉ so far is that there has been that like connective tissue between other Black indie promotions, whether that be something like Fight Club Pro or like what Primetime used to be in the DMV area, and like being able to see wrestlers like Billy Dixon that has like such an ongoing feud with Darius across multiple promotions also have that playoff here. And you don't get a chance to see that, like you said, with Black indie wrestlers that often, because it feels like here's the spot for a Black wrestler on this card. But to have something that brings all those things together is really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that was one thing that was on my heart, my mind, like my spirit coming into this, like as early as 2020. I was seeing people, everyone's complaining. Everyone has one of those tweets on Twitter of like, how come y'all don't do this no more? How come we haven't had this in a long time? We haven't had, no one does this in a long time. No one, y'all don't body slam nobody no more. That's what's wrong with you. No one doing a good double axe handle no more. And it's like, okay, I get it. But one thing that someone had a point was if people weren't telling long-term stories on independence like that.
Yes.
And the last person to really do it, it was a couple pair of people that one of them we can't talk about, the other I mean, talk about anymore, and the other one was Gunther. And it's like that was the last time there was a long-term story of people like on the indies telling a story together. And I was like, damn, before that was what, Steen and Generico, and maybe Strickland had a couple stories in there, but other than that, it's like, yeah, there isn't really long-term. So I was like, what is this generation's like Steen and Generico, and like what is this generation's that? Like, what can we make for ourselves? And I saw what Billy and Darius were cooking in the corner, and I was like, that's important. I like what y'all are doing. And also, like, I think that had to be the long-term story is a foundation of what makes ASÉ special, because we really want these feuds to help progress people. Like, I think sometimes like you find more about yourself as a performer, kind of doing an elongated situation with someone, bouncing off of someone you have chemistry with, rather than just wrestling someone new every single night. Like, you can have a good match anywhere. I tell people all the time. But long-term storytelling is really something that I'm very proud of here at ASÉ, and we love to, oh, y'all were doing something over there. Oh, well, then we can pay it off or help, intertwine and add a layer here, and then y'all can do the finish wherever else there. Suge and Isaiah, they have a situation that has started from the joint show I think we did for Trey D last year. That's weird. Okay. The joint show we did for Trey D, it was us, Fight Club, and Naptown. They had a story that went from that show to Naptown to ASÉ, and now is about to weave through to possibly even Enjoy. So it's really like, you have to start these things with intentionality and know where it goes, but it's a beautiful thing to be able to create.
So many amazing things just kind of continuously being told, stories and things being told in the company. You guys are working with some different kind of flavors. Like I'm thinking of like Darian Bingston's and Suge D's match that's going to happen. The second match that they had that's totally different than most stuff you get on like the indies. You know what I mean? Like, was that kind of thing important to have matches that you can't get featured anywhere else?
Yeah. And I think it was important to make sure that these matches, like whether they were on your radar or not, like it held true to that. Like I was thinking, I could do dream match, and like that could be cool. But sometimes like the context of something and the story of something is almost more precious than just throwing two names that you really want to see fight and then moving on. Like like the history of Darren and Suge and the way that they move and who they are as people. Like I did want to paint with new colors, especially in the bubble of like technical pro wrestling. People think it has to be boring and quiet and stiff and articulate chest, and it's cool, you can do that, but for Darian and Suge to be doing that kind of match with such charisma and to do it with like no loss of flair or character work, but still get these grapples off. I thought that was fire, and it's something I wanted to have here at ASÉ for a very long time. There may not be a distinctive style that we all do here at ASÉ, like a New Japan, like they have a style. Like we may not have that, but there's things where I like to put people in a position to showcase who they are vehemently and not double back on that. Like don't worry about that. Like just be it. And I think that's what's precious about it.
Because like you could get mixed up in that division too. Like you could be in these matches too. Like if it comes to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like there's something to say. We used to have the conversation of sometimes Black professional wrestlers get put in the freaky athletic or beast category, and it's like, oh, they're like it's impossible. We were just genetic freaks, and to show that there is a roster of Black pro wrestlers that are thinking men and that can are skilled and work at their skill and work hard to think about what they think about, cerebral even. I think that's cool. I mean, because you could say Darius Carter could be in this division. Jonathan Gresham could be in this division. Darian Bingston, me, Suge. We're trying to get Eel O'Neal in here. There's different people. Cheeseburger, if he's a call away. Shelton Benjamin possibly coming back. There's just all these different things. So who's to say? And people who aren't known for grappling might be coming out the house and put their boots on. So we'll love to see it.
Definitely. I can't say for certain reasons the black wrestler I spoke to that said this, but he told me, black wrestlers often have to be kind of perfect. Like they have to do everything better than everybody else because they'll be like, oh, well, this person can work, but can they cut promos? And what is their presentation? What is their entrance? And I feel like Jah-C is one of those guys that he can do so many things well. He's such a great promo. He does like really creative stuff with like his presentation and the video packages he was putting together at one point. You got a tough task ahead of you with this guy. This is your third match with him coming up. How are you preparing for this match?
He talk a lot of shit, Darius. He talk a lot of shit, man.
I'm sure. I'm prepared for Ja at this point. I'm trying to just look for anything underhanded, because last time I prepared for his usual move set. I prepared for the super kick. I prepared for the little windy through, the flat line or the elbow. I knew all that was coming, but what I didn't know was coming was, just him being that slimy. He held an amount of respect with aggression. But pulling my trunks was something I really wasn't thinking he was low enough to do. So I'm kind of going into this match being like, be prepared for just the dirty stuff. And watching tapes of him as well and just seeing what he might tweak and how I can reverse some of the things he's known to do. So it's a mind game with Jah-C right now. But I do respect his gangster and I do respect, his talent and ability. He's on ASÉ for a reason. He was invited to ASÉ for a reason. I do think he has an Eddie Murphy-like charisma to him. And I mean that in a good way. He's just one of those special talents. So if he can rise to the occasion and finish the job he tried to start beforehand, we'll see. But I don't really see him getting past me because right now, like at this point, I'm just kind of tired of playing with the games with him. I'm tired of playing against everybody. I really just want to get back on my grind with this. Like, these personal vendettas are just kind of like distracting me. So at this point, I want to get the last distraction out the way, head to Carter, take that off of him, and maybe Khan and I can have a conversation. How about that, Phil?
Yeah, I think that exactly what Phil was saying about Jah-C is what we talk about it all the time. Darius Carter, the ASÉ Men's World Champion, we don't understand why he's not the world champion of all the worlds, like and the main, a main character on a top brand and all this. Like he has.
Well, he is a main character on the top brand. He's a main character at ASÉ.
Definitely. I think that he has all the tools. He has everything. Like he could be the best heel in the business. It's just about visibility. It's just about getting out there. What I guess you knew this because he's kind of representing at the top of ASÉ right now. How does it feel to have a character like him to be the representation? Because when you look at ASÉ, he's right there front and center as the world champion.
I'm not a fan of him representing everyone just because it's not. He's not really doing it for the right reasons. It's mainly ego-driven,
to say the least.
Yeah, it's mainly ego-driven to say the least. It's I don't know how long he looks at himself in the mirror with that belt and just smells his own shit. But I know that it kind of I really like to see someone else do it. But to say that I am proud of the man's accomplishments, I am proud of the fact that he's able to be on the run of his career while being the ASÉ Men's Champion. That does look good upon us, and it does make the company proud in a lot of different ways. That at the end of the day, you do have a thinking man's wrestler, a wrestler's wrestler, and the personification of probably what a lot of people would think classic professional wrestling or North Carolina wrestling is, and a Darius Carter. So to give him his credit, he is making the people happy, and no one seems to be really that bothered that he's the champion except the locker room. So the locker room, we just kind of got to get it off of him. That's our prerogative. But for you fans, I'm glad that Darius Carter is every bit the champion that you would want him to be. So in terms of, except for screwing people over, because at that point, I don't know why y'all like that, but that's y'all's issue. Yeah, that's y'all's issue to deal with. I like smacking him in the mouth. That's just personally me. So that's what I want to do.
Yeah, Darius is one of those guys that people speak very highly of. He makes a lot of the year-end lists. Makes the PWI every year. He's made Regis list, Black Wrestling's list, and it is one of those things where he gets so much recognition, and you kind of wonder, like, what is it? Like, what is it stopping him from signing with like one of these bigger companies?
he's got to want it.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
well, I mean, and that's not to say like he's got to like he doesn't want it bad enough. No, I mean, like I think a lot of people have a perception that like contracts are the golden gate. That's the end. That's what we're all going for. Like you know, in order to get a job, you got to want to work there. You got to want to apply.
That's
And
It's a
true.
fact.
you know, Carter is on his own schedule, and it's not to say that they haven't contacted him. It's he goes where he wants to go. So you know, and it's only making him more valuable. I would have to say. So you know, that's not trying to pocket watch or you know talk about his business, but at the end of the day, like these conversations don't always end and be all of how are they messing up. Is sometimes we don't always think that that's the end all be all. You know what I mean? Like we see what y'all see too. So it's really Carter's prerogative because he can have anything this world merits. You see, the talent speaks for itself. I would be hard pressed to believe that no one's calling, and I think y'all would think that too. So it's definitely a two-way street. It's definitely a two-way street. They have to
Absolutely.
be saying the right thing on the phone.
Thank you for bringing that point up because we talk a lot about, you know, WWE's the big dog in town. A lot of people have WrestleMania aspirations and want to get to the big show. But then I talk to a lot of independent wrestlers and a lot of wrestlers that's not their aspiration. Some independent wrestlers want to be the biggest independent wrestler. Some people want to go to Japan. Some people want to go to Mexico. Some people just want to be the hottest in their region. And I think that what goals and these things have been kind of lifted and people kind of have a different perception of them, but sometimes it's just classic for people like I just want to be the best wrestler in my town or whatever, you know. So
Well, it's not that I'm sure Carter wants the world, but
yeah,
I just think that sometimes you know, perception is reality, and I think that sometimes when people perceive as something being higher than them, that they then begin to live a little bit like they're lower, and I don't think that Carter subscribes to that thinking. I think he thinks he's already the man, and he doesn't need that to be more or to be validated. And I think a lot of us could swallow that because a lot of people are, you know, the way they feel about themselves is indicated upon their professional wrestling career where someone else is booking them and how they're standing there. And I think that that's a really flimsy way to live your life and to base your self-worth off of. And I think Carter's is rooted in something far more powerful than the contract, which at the end of the day is just a piece of paper.
thank you also for bringing that up because as somebody who makes a list and people are yelling at me in my DMs, I'm like, look, these numbers are just numbers, you guys. Like, it doesn't. It's
Well,
not about your words.
I will say that you know if you're doing a list, the numbering was a little egregious. It was a little salacious past 30 something. But no, I'm kidding. I did
Here
a
we
bit.
go.
I like your list. I think it's great. I just because I know exactly what it's doing, what it's for, and I think that that's what's most important. It's like you look at all these names. Look. I would co-sign this. Like look at all these names and everything. But I have a bit. I was laughing at myself thinking what Stephen A. Smith would say looking at these listings. You know, just, clearly Bobby Lashley at number 38, brother, righteous wretch. Clearly. You know what I'm saying? But I was gonna give you hell for it when I saw it. But no, I really did like the list, and you know, it takes a lot of time to do that much research. So, you know, hats off to you, right? You know.
Thank you for your help because I definitely look at your cards and I'm like, oh, these are new people to add to my list. So it's a concern. I tell everybody, like, it's not just me looking. Like, I look through promotions, I look through other wrestlers who they're training with. There's just so much that goes into trying to get some representation out here.
They're looking at the list every year, bro.
See, somebody said it. They're gonna get me out of here. I'm dead. I'm doomed.
But yeah, we've got. We got the 2-year anniversary coming up December 6th. Like I said, you're facing Jah-C on this card. You've also got Calvin Takeman taking on Bishop Khan. You've got Darius Carter defending his belt against LeBron Cozon as well.
Absolutely.
Killing it.
Got Charity King. Yeah, got Charity King defending the belt against Jocelyn Navarro. Jocelyn has been also a part of ASÉ from the beginning.
Fire.
So really cool to see someone that was also in the tournament for the women's belt getting the chance to challenge for the belt.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about that. You know, you'll see a lot of the girls who maybe they didn't get in the finals or went to the finals, they'll get their shots because Charity King has made it imperative as a champion. She's told me straight, and me and the board and anyone who will listen, and Caprice, she's a fighting champion. So she's like, I want every girl who made it to the finals one-on-one. I want every girl who did make it to the finals one-on-one. I'm knocking down every single person in this division because I want to show who I am. So, some people are on side quests. We got Savannah Evans and Alexis Littlefoot in the corner, but I'm sure whoever comes out of that fight alive is also going to come clawing for Charity. So it's only a matter of time. But yeah, it's an amazing card, and we got this coming up December 6th. You can watch online. You can purchase the live stream starting December 1st on Monday. And as well as you can buy tickets and still be in the building here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're going back to the school. We got some really cool surprises for you all. Check us out. ASÉ 2nd year anniversary. Going to be a big and really cool event. Please check it out, and hope you got some fun.
Yeah. If you have not seen ASÉ's first year, you can also see ASÉ TV on their YouTube channel as well. That's kind of like the hour-long specials of like their earlier shows. If you're not up to date.
Oh, I will say, ASÉ TV is only up to the first 3 shows.
Okay.
If you want the rest for free in hour-long pieces, you got to wait till at least January. The rest is coming. I haven't edited it yet. That's on me. But but if you want to see all the shows, you can subscribe to our Patreon, and all of them are there for as low as just $7 for 1 month. You can watch all the shows back to back to back. We have about 12 of them so far. This will be our 13th show. So that's Patreon, or you can buy them individually at ashe.com/watch ASÉ. And all of that you can be found at ASÉWrestling.com. So
appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
I feel
you
like
guys.
appreciate you. We don't want to hold you too much longer. This has been Grapsody. I'm Phil Lindsey, Righteous Reg, and of course Darius Lockhart. It's been a dope one, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.